So the film Predator was a huge part of my childhood. How does The Predator stand up to this classic? Stay tuned. Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends. It's your buddy Boogeyman Ben here for a new episode of Boogeyman Ben's Horror Zone, and today's video is going to be a review of the new film, The Predator. This is the fourth Predator film that we've gotten. The first one, of course, came out in 1987, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and directed by John McTiernan. This was a huge staple for me as a kid. I absolutely love this film. Next to The Terminator, it's always been my favorite film by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I just love the cast. I mean, you have Bill Duke, Carl Weathers, fantastic movie, one of my favorites. So I was really anxious for this one. I really was happy that I got to go see this film with my brother-in-law. I've talked about him before. So him and his wife and my wife and I, we got to go and watch the new Predator film. And Predator is like his favorite movie of all time. So I knew that if anybody was going to be critical of this film, it was going to be him. I had heard some rumblings, online and from some critics that I follow on YouTube that were saying it wasn't a good film, that the production was plagued with lots of problems. I knew about the reshoots and things like that, some of the changes, of course, the whole thing with the friend of Shane Black's who was registered sex offender, that was his scenes were cut from the film because of Olivia Munn's protests. So I knew about all of that was going on, but I really just wanted to go see a fun action movie. So of course the film was directed by Shane Black. It was also written by Shane Black and Fred Decker, who people might know as the director of The Monster Squad and Night of the Creeps. And for the cast, you have Boyd Holbrook, you have Sterling K. Brown, you have Olivia Munn, you have Thomas Jane, who I'm a huge fan of, Keegan-Michael Key, and Trevante Rhodes. And pretty much what the film deals with is that you have this predator that's being chased. It's almost like he's a predator that's gone rogue, and he's being chased by another predator. His ship crashes to Earth. A sniper / soldier gets involved when his team is taken out by this new predator, and then he sort of teams up with this kind of ragtag group of soldiers that are all kind of, have some type of PTSD, and it's up to them to sort of help stop this new predator that has come to Earth. With all the negative talk out there about this film, I was surprised how much I loved it. And my brother-in-law and my wife, we all loved it. I don't get the criticism for it. Yes, there are some issues with it. There's some lines in it that, are callbacks to the original film that do seem forced. But I really like the dynamic with the characters, particularly the group of guys, the group of soldiers that are all sort of band together to take down the predator. I thought they had terrific chemistry together. I'm a huge fan of Thomas Jane, and I've talked about him before, but I was so happy to see him in this film, and he gives one of my favorite performances in the film. He was hilarious in it. Yes, there's a lot of comedy in this film, but I really thought that it was done well. A lot of people said that it was overly comedic, but the first film had a lot of comedy in it too, and I just didn't, I didn't read too much into it. I felt like it flowed well. There were some that, some jokes landed better than others, but at the end of the day, it was fun. I had a great time. It was very gory, which is one thing I really loved. It was a bloody film, but you can tell that there were some things that were edited or reshot or changed. But if you didn't know that ahead of time, I don't really think it would bother you. Nothing is going to top this film. Nothing is going to top the original Predator. It's a classic. You can't top it. It's going to be the best of this franchise no matter how many films they pump out. But I thought this one was a nice nod back to the original, and I really thought that Boyd Holbrook's character was really a good. At first, he seemed a little off. I remember him from Logan. I thought he was really good in that. But at first, I couldn't really warm up to his character. But once he was introduced to the group of guys that comprised of like Keegan-Michael Key and Thomas Jane and Trevante Rhodes, to name a few, the dynamic between those guys just really, really worked. And I think that was the strength of the film. Olivia Munn did a good job as well. I don't follow her work. I've only seen her in one other film, and that was X-Men Apocalypse. But I thought she did a good job in this. Some of her lines seemed a little forced, but she still, she held her own. She kicked ass in the film. I thought it was great. The Predator designs were great. I really love the original Predator, the main Predator that's on the run. I thought his design was the best. The Super Predator, or whatever you want to call him, he was cool. I didn't think he was as interesting as the original Predator. But I had a fun time with this film, and yes, it's had some problems with it. It had some controversy behind it, but I think that's what people are just getting so worked up about. Instead of just sitting back and enjoying a good movie. Yes, there's some things that don't make sense. Sometimes there's some dialogue that doesn't work, and sometimes some of the characters' lines don't seem as natural as others. But at the end of the day, I still had a blast with it. I went in with, hoping that it would at least be entertaining. It was really a lot of fun. The fact that my brother-in-law is a huge critic, and I knew that if this movie sucked, he would be the first one to say that it sucked. The fact that he liked it, and I really had a fun time with it. So like I said, there's a couple problems with it, but nothing that would make me knock it like some people are. I think people just are ready to trash it because it's a sequel to a beloved film, and if it's not perfect, then people are going to hate on it, and that's fine. But I'm not going to do that. So if I had to give this movie a rating on my scale, I would give The Predator 4 skulls. So that was my review of The Predator. I'm sure it's going to be controversial because so many people were ripping on the film, but I really enjoyed it. My family enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see it again. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Would be really interested to hear what you guys think about this film. And if you guys haven't done so, I am on Patreon. If you guys are interested in checking out my Patreon page, link down below, as well as my other social media links. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for some great stuff coming real soon. Take it easy. Stay scared as always. Peace.